it's Mark Roberts. We're here on Let's Get Into Entertainment.
The business of entertainment. That's my tag.
Thanks for the tag. Today is a very special show because we're going to be talking to Lorena David about being a film director, about being an editor in the business of non-scripted, which she's super successful at. She's done 4 or 5 movies as a director. She's produced over 15 movies. We're going to talk a lot about how she got her start, what inspired her. And also we're going to talk about how you can start off and be a director in film and then have to take a right or left turn and get into editing and how you find your way back. So we're going to talk about a lot of good stuff on today's show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Let's Get Into Entertainment. It's the business of entertainment, Dave.
It is all day, every day.
I think we made that very clear. Amanda and Maddie have decided that it's the business of entertainment, and that's what we're going to talk about.
Love it.
I think we've always talked about that. But I want to get directly to our guest today because, we've been going long on the show.
Very true.
And the shows have been getting long because there's so many stories. We had Chuck on, Charlie Windisgrates, and
we could have talked to Chuck for another hour. Easy.
I know, right? But he had a lot to say. People in this industry and every industry need publicity. Mm-hmm. And I got to tell you, it's changed a lot. When Lori and I got started, it was very different. So I want to bring her in so we can get into all that. And here she is, ladies and gentlemen, Lorena David.
Hey, I love it.
Hey, hi. Happy to be here.
I'm so glad you're here. I've been wanting to interview you. I've been doing this for a year.
I know. I've been wondering when I was going to be on.
I think a lot of people have been anticipating this show, so let's not let them down. Lorena David is a film director. She's a world-class editor. She's a producer. She's sort of done it all. I mean, really, you've done it all, right?
Right. I mean, writing is definitely not my forte. I'd rather write or edit with, something that's already been done.
Yeah, but you were always very good at tasks and finishing tasks. People in this industry like myself are not great at that. But I want to confess right now that Lorena David and I were business partners for, and we still are actually. We still are with Roberts David, but we started a company called Writers Block Productions in like 1996.
Actually 1994.
Holy, that's right.
We were supposed to start work on the Monday, but that Sunday night, I believe, it was when the earthquake hit, the Northridge earthquake. Yeah.
It was the first money I had ever raised. I had raised like $50,000. I think we talked about this on an earlier show, but I had raised $50,000 for us to do a show. I started working with Lori. We decided to produce together. And the earthquake hit.
Oh, wow.
So we were delayed only a week, but it hit Northridge, right where we were supposed to start work.
Oh, wow. It was unbelievable. Wow. It was almost like the world didn't want it to happen or we were making an announcement.
Yeah, there you go. It also helps us remember when we start.
Hollywood, here we come. But because you're a director, because you're a world-class editor on huge shows, I think what we want to do is we want to go back to the beginning. You are a native of Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm. I love LA.
At what point in your life did you start thinking, entertainment's what I want to do?
Well, I was at school at UC San Diego and I was kind of bored. And actually one of my boyfriends was like, hey, well, you could do so much more. Why don't you just join this film group? Why don't you call up the guy and say, I want to be an assistant producer, which doesn't really exist. I've never heard of an assistant producer, but we didn't know. So I called him up and immediately he said, okay, raise money. And I immediately raised money. And then within
you didn't tell me you had that talent. You were raising money back in college?
Yeah,
you didn't tell
college.
Me?
Okay.
We
sold plants. We sold our plasma. We did psychological experiments.
Wow.
We became audiences for game shows. But all to raise, we had to make 16 millimeter films that cost about $5,000. And so as a student, that was actually really large. But within 6 months, I was president of the club and I went on to continue and form the entire club called Hardcore Film Productions. And by the time I left, we had made, I think, 4 16 millimeter films.
Wow.
And I showed up in Hollywood ready to strut my stuff.
Take it on, man. We've had guests on the show, and I work with people, and you work with people that you were in that club with.
Right.
So who are those guys?
Have you had Joel High on?
Yeah, Joel High was
right.
on.
Joel High was part of the club. Matt Ramross, who's a huge trailer editor, was in that club. Stephanie Kramer, Michelle Kasich. I don't know. I mean,
Rich Alarcon?
Rich Alarcon was he was very anti our club.
Okay.
Because he was a filmmaker and most of the people in our club were from other majors. We had economics majors and communication majors. We did not have a lot of film majors. And so Rich was appalled and actively worked against us. But he was the checkout guy. So you had to get your equipment from him. So we all, worked with him in that capacity.
So let's talk about this for a sec. So you get into a club, you start the club.
Right.
And, we're 30 years in, I'm not going to age you, but we're well into our careers here. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about Rich Alarcon, premier music video editor, has edited on our movies, is editing on Tuddy's movie.
Made in Mexico, yeah.
Made in Mexico. Super successful, won awards, music video awards. Has worked with Pitbull, has worked with Jennifer Lopez, has worked with Katy Perry. I mean, really remarkable talent. Huge. So he was in school when you were in school. You guys knew each other. Joel High, the president of the Music Supervisors Union, and also an award-winning supervisor. I think he's won Music Supervisor of the Year a couple of times, right? So he's working with us.
There's Jennifer Booth Steinerson, who was at EVP at Lionsgate and is now at Picture Start with Eric Feig. Polly Cohen.
Wait a minute. Hang on. Eric Feig, who started the company
Summit,
who
did Hunger Games, and yes.
Wow. Amazing. Okay, so Jennifer Booth, whom I know because we work together as producers on all our movies,
right,
and is super talented and has gone on to do incredible things. So you got her.
Polly Cohen,
who was Stark program
at Warner Brothers and was the head of Warner Independent Pictures for a short time. Actually UCSD, even though it's not regarded as a film school per se, we turned out a lot of people. And part of that was because we had film developing equipment. We didn't even have to go to Hollywood to develop our film.
That was big at that time.
Yeah, we developed our own film, which is crazy. So by the time I got to Hollywood, I knew how to make films from the very bottom to the very end.
That's amazing.
Filmmaking. Not that it helps anymore because nobody develops film anymore.
You wanted to shoot stuff, so you created a club. You used the things that you had, used the people around you. They worked with you. Would you say that just going out and doing it, just shooting it, just getting stuff done is the way to go?
And obviously nowadays that's simple. You can do it right now. I could shoot what we're doing right now. So it's a lot easier. I mean, we used to have to sit in a dark closet and put the film into a film case and, only shoot 5 minutes at a time and everything. So now it's a lot easier. It's all about jumping in, I would say, with both feet and not even looking back. Yeah.
Well, I think we all do that in this business, right, David?
You got it.
You got to. All right, cool. So then you get out of college and, we met early in our career, but what was your next steps? Like, did you go into the film industry? Did you take a right turn? What happened?
Well, I worked for a foreign distributor and we sold like B movies to Poland, which was a really good way to understand how Hollywood distributes it and how much influence even little films have throughout the world. I mean, a little bad, thriller would end up in every country, of the world. And that really had an effect on me and made me want to make fun little films that had, some sort of heart in the middle of them, because what we're exporting matters. And so I quickly left there, though, because that was all paperwork and that was not production. But I learned a lot and I was influenced it. And then I just, what I did was actually scour the newspapers and the magazines at the time and looking for, crew wanted, because I knew every position. I had already worked sound, locations, production, AD, I had done all of that. So I just would take anything, even if it was free. And by doing that, I ended up being a first AD on a student film for USC. And they said, oh, we're going to raise money. We're going to make a feature. And if we do, we want you to line produce it. And I was like, yeah, sure. Right. You're going to make enough money to make a feature. And within a couple months, I got the call. They're like, okay, we're in Chicago. We got the money. We want you to come out. And so I drove across country and I line produced a feature for $75,000 on 35 millimeter. It was the worst job I've ever had. And it convinced me to only work with people I really liked. And so when Mark Roberts asked me to line produce his first show, I jumped on it because I knew the difference.
So that's a crazy thing. Now we're getting into the nitty gritty. Lorena, I met Lorena I used to do extras casting, and I used to also do audience casting.
Yeah.
So I was working on a show called Supermarket Sweep.
Love that show.
which you can
on
now
Netflix.
Yeah, which you can now find on Netflix. And as I was working one day, Sam Zoda, who I should have on the show, came up and said, oh, this girl's going to be working with you. She's a PA. And it was Lori or Lorena. And we ended up kind of connecting and talking about film and talking about where she had come from. And as I was talking to her, I kept thinking to myself, I don't know anything about movies, but I want to make them. I don't know anything about film, TV, except for what I've seen on all these shows I've worked on, right? But she seems to have the nitty gritty part. She seems to have like all of the insider stuff, like the budgets and the people and the knowledge. So I said, we started talking about teaming up. So we teamed up. I said, you're going to produce with me and we're going to do this show that I want to do. And I'm going to raise all the money. And just to fast forward, that all happened. And when we finished it, we were like, let's start a company. And I got credit cards. And then she had like this idea, and you should tell it, but you had this idea to buy these new editing systems called Avids.
And rent them out so we could make our rent because we wanted a real office.
Yeah. Well, smart.
Yeah. And
Smart
that
move.
worked. But I just want to rewind super quick.
Rewind.
So I was being a temp on the KTLA a lot, and I was wanting to be in production, but I still wasn't in production. I was on with the little things with the USC stuff. So what I would do is at lunch, I would go around to all the production companies on the lot, knock on the door, and ask them if they needed a PA, which must have been terrifying because even the thought of doing that now terrifies me. And they'd say, no. And then I knocked on the door of Al Howard Productions, which was Supermarket Sweep. And down came Sam Zoda. The person I asked said, we might need a PA. Sam Zoda comes around the corner and says, we do need a PA. You got 2 days a week on the set of Supermarket Sweep.
And if you're wondering if you keep your relationships that you start with, which is why you should be very, very nice on your way up, Sam Zoda, who I just had dinner with, who Lorena, myself, and a few other people get together for dinner every quarter, pretty much.
Yeah.
Anyway, Lorena couldn't make it, but we went to dinner, and he told this story that she's telling about how this girl walks into the office and like hands her resume to the receptionist, and the receptionist comes in and tells Sam, hey, this girl came by and is looking, for a job. She's working here on the lot, as a temp. So he said, well, bring her in, right? Because Sam's like this super cool guy who's now the executive vice president of BBC Television and Productions. He says to me that you had like a bicycle chain bracelet.
Right. A real one that my cousins had put on so I could knock it off.
So he asked you about it.
Yeah. And that's what he thought that was cool. So I was hired.
He remembered that. He said she had this, and he goes, I had never seen one before. In fact, he credited you with inventing it. He said that the next day you brought him one.
Oh, maybe I did. I have a memory
and
of having
that
extras.
got you hired.
Well, I just can't believe I'd actually knock on the doors, but I still, to this day, I'll write to people on LinkedIn if I think they might like something I'm selling. So
yeah,
it doesn't hurt to be thoughtful either. So.
Right.
Well, Lori was super cool. We used to go have drinks at the ski room, which was right next to Denny's, right on Sunset. And Lori was always very generous. Like she, after we would have some drinks, she'd be like, hey, you want to come to my apartment? And her apartment was like the size of a shoebox.
Yeah.
And we would have, bologna sandwiches with
Nice.
Munster cheese.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we had
The
a
good
very
stuff.
tight budget.
She was good about budgets, and that's partially why we worked so well as partners. But we get together and we decide to rent these Avids
Right.
that are nonlinear editing systems, which now govern and supervise and are in charge of every movie and every TV show in the entire world. And, there's different forms now, but when we started, Avid was actually the leader, the best, and, continues to be
Best.
one of the most important editing systems in our business and the best. I try to use nothing but I'm terrified, but she's like, let's do it. And the only way I could think about doing it, because we're talking about, $30,000 for a system. Then we decided to get a second one, $109,000. And you're talking about a time when 3 gigabytes was a lot. Now gigabytes are no big deal and they come in very small. But, we were renting, Darth Vader levels
Hard
looking
drives,
stuff that only carried 9 gigs
Right.
of memory.
Very heavy.
Yeah. So we do this terrified because bottom line was the only way for us to stay in the business was to get paid from not having normal jobs, because she had normal jobs. She was getting paid well. The problem was that we couldn't get her out of those jobs because there was no way for her to pay her rent.
Exactly.
So as a result, we got together. She suggests this idea of buying the Avids. We go to NAB,
Right.
meet Jill Kelly. No, what was her name? Jill
Abbott?
Jill Tracy.
Jill Tracy.
We meet Jill Tracy from Avid, and she's like, no, we'll make this work. Long story short, credit cards, her brother's credit cards, our credit cards, extra
7
credit.
credit cards, I think.
We're in deep $250,000, and we're in our 20s.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, so it worked. We were renting that thing for $4,000 a week sometimes, and as time went on, it went down. But we paid off those systems. We were
Right.
debt free and owned them. And then, of course, Lori decided to learn how to use them.
Yeah.
Which is, we'll get into this a little bit later because that changed everything for us and for her. So we were renting to all these people, yet at the same time we were developing scripts. Developing ideas, working with other writers,
Working with talent.
Yeah, shooting things that were non-scripted as well, and working with talent and doing all kinds of stuff. So, yeah. So what were your next steps in terms of your growth as a professional?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you've told the Plump Fiction story on this podcast yet.
We've touched on it.
We were looking for talent. So we'd look in the back pages of the Hollywood Reporter, look at the ads, and someone had put up an ad for a sketch show. And Mark went. And then he came back and said, they're hilarious. You got to go. I go. So we go. I thought they were hilarious. We went ahead and brought them in for a meeting, said, what do you guys want? They said, we want a show at the Tiffany, which was this big theater on Sunset, which costs a lot. So Mark sold his car.
True story.
Wow.
True story. Oh my God. True story.
Wow.
And we used some of our Avid income to put them up at the Tiffany in a sketch show that we invited every industry person we could get a hold of. And we did sell out the place, I believe. Yeah, we did.
It was super cool. I mean, It was, first of all, we were doing anything to be creative, anything.
Yeah.
And we developed a script called Plump Fiction that Lori thought of. Bob Coher, who's a huge director now for all things television, decided to pen it, and we did sell it.
Right. We sold it rather quickly. We had Trimark wanted it, which Trimark later did become Lionsgate, I believe.
Yeah.
And also Rhino Films, which we ended up, Rhino definitely captured our hearts. Stephen Nemeth was such a more giving person and a more giving producer, and we went with Rhino, and we went ahead and made the film, and we thought, hey, that's easy.
Dude, we
right?
bought cars. I bought a Saab.
I bought a Corvair convertible.
We were like,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
we took half our money and just said,
Yeah, we got $10,000 each.
yeah, which is nothing. And you got to imagine that, you got to sacrifice for your first few.
Do you still have your Corvair?
No, I kept my
Sad.
Corvair for almost 8 years. It was my daily driver. And later on, I got a Mercedes convertible, an 84 Mercedes convertible.
Yeah. Okay.
So I definitely keep with the cool cars.
So I take Lori to pick up her Corvair.
I was negotiating with this guy, and he said it was his girlfriend's car. So then it was time. We finished negotiations. Mark took me to the bank to get the cashier's check. And they're all, well, what name should be on it? I'm like, oh, I don't know. Let me call the girlfriend. And so I'm all, hey, what's your name? She said, Sheryl Crow. I'm like, can you spell that? And I'm writing it down, looking at Mark like, it's Sheryl Crow. And we drive over he drops me off at the car, and there's Sheryl Crow in her leather pants.
Ah.
Yeah.
At 9 o'clock in the morning. She probably hadn't gone to sleep yet.
Giving me, selling me her old Corvair.
Wow.
But it was the guy from the song, too, right? It was Billy.
She made a lot of money on me.
$3,500, wasn't it?
I paid $3,300.
Oh, $3,300.
And when I found her old bill of sale, which she had left in the car, it was $700 the year before.
Oh.
Well, they bought it as they were on tour driving through
Arizona. But anyway, yes.
All right, so let's get into the entertainment part, because we could talk about this stuff all day long.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we did Plump Fiction, and we thought we were stars. We're like, that's it.
That's
We've made
easy.
it.
We can make movies all day long.
So what was next in your evolution as a director?
As a director, well, we kept doing some little films, but it was difficult. It was very difficult. So in the meantime, I had been taking acting classes from Howard Fine, who's a great acting coach. And I've been doing that not to act. I am a terrible performer, but in order to understand the craft more and be able to work with actors more. So I was doing that. And then our buddies from the sketch group, which was called the Ribbed for Pleasure Players, who had done Plump Fiction with us, they had written a bunch of little shorts that they were going to do while they did other sketches. So they asked me if I'd direct them. And so I jumped at the chance, and I think I did 6 shorts for them, all for about $20 a piece. And they came together great, because by then I had already been editing, so I knew what I needed. And, I shot what I needed, and I put it together really fast, and they were really fun and funny. And Mark was actually very impressed, I think.
I was, and we should tell this story, because if you're a director or a aspiring director, this changed the course of the next 5 films for us. So I was finding it very difficult to sell Lorena as a director, because she hadn't directed anything, right? She had directed these small films. She had directed this film that was a cheese ball, and I could not sell her. There was no way. So she kept saying, hey, maybe I should direct, or maybe I could direct. It'd be great for our business. I said, yeah, but I cannot seem to get the conversation past that you've not done anything. So she goes out and she shoots these shorts. Are they available anywhere? Can people see them?
Yeah, I think they're on YouTube.
So what would they look for if they can find them on YouTube?
International House of Yams.
Okay. International House of Yams and
The Sound of Music.
The Sound of Music, which is DA.
Yeah, that was Ebonics,
Sound
the
of
Ebonics
Music,
version.
right.
I'm sure it's completely politically incorrect.
So she does, yeah, you're good. She does these shorts. Wow, these are really good. Really good. What became apparent is that she could handle directing a movie. If she could do these things that had music and had shots that had to match iconic, movies like The Sound of Music, then she could do this, right? So we moved on to raising money for another movie.
Just to make it, I had done those shorts. I had taken acting classes. I took some directing workshops with Judith Weston, who is fabulous, and I definitely recommend to any upcoming directors. But
why did you take the acting classes?
I think it's really important to understand what an actor's going through, and what they hear when you give a direction and how that works. In fact, the best thing, even after doing scene study for over a year, when I did a directing acting lab where I had to be directed by a person, that was when I got the best performance I've ever given, and I'm not a performer. So I think it just helps you understand what's a good direction and what's a bad direction. And also, how to be present on set, and to what you want to tell somebody in the next take, so that you can get various takes.
So it's important that if you're going to be a director, that you understand what you're telling an actor, how it is that they hear it, and what's required of them. Like you really don't know what's required of an actor until you're an actor and someone asks you to do something.
You don't. I mean, and I have a quick story about working with Marissa Tomei. I wasn't the director on that one. That was Ariel Vroman, but we had the last shot of the day, and it had been a really long day. She had to go lay down in an MRI machine, and that's it. Right. And she did not want to do it. But that was the last day with the MRI machine, and it was going to go away. And the crew, I remember the crew just being so frustrated with her. Like, all she has to do is lay down, and I'm like, no, that's not all she has to do. Yeah. She has to become that character when she lays down. She has to be in an MRI worried about her brain, it's a whole, so that all came from acting classes, understanding that it's not just, she's just not laying down and being pushed into an MRI. Yeah. So that kind of helped me understand her. And even though I wasn't directing that movie, for me to help the director understand that that's not the only thing she's doing. And so that helped her understand that we got her, and she went ahead and did it. So I had been doing my work to be a director. I'd been shooting shorts, taking acting, taking directing. I think a lot of people think directing's camera angles, but that's not. You just got to trust your DP most of the time. You have to have ideas. But I think it's more important to understand acting than it is to understand camera angles. We had just financed a low budget Spanish feature film that was shot in 16 millimeter starring Carlos Gallardo from El Mariachi fame. And our exec producers said, okay, do another one, but this time in English with Carlos starring and directing. And on 35 millimeter, we can sell that. And we're like, great. But then me and Mark and Carlos all were like, this is my chance to direct. Because Carlos thought it was hard to act and direct. Yeah. So he was like, I trust Lorena. Mark trusted me enough. Now he had seen the work I had done. And so what they did, and I mean, this is hearsay because I wasn't there, but they were down in Mexico City with these exec producers who were from India, right?
Were you not there at that meeting?
I wasn't there.
Okay.
And Mark and Carlos said, got him a little tequila, or a lot of tequila. And they said, hey, look, you guys, we're excited about this movie, but Lorena's going to direct. And they're all, no. And Carlos and Mark said, then Carlos will not star in the movie, which, I mean, I could get teary because how many women get men to lay down like an opportunity like that? Yeah. To give them an opportunity. I mean, it's amazing. And I'll never forget that. They came back actually with another negotiation, which is, okay, we're going to send our guy down there as line producer, and he's going to watch Lorena. We are going to tell everybody right now that Carlos is directing until Lorena can direct. But we're going to tell everyone Carlos is directing until we get the thumbs up from our guy. And
that was Justin Connolly.
That was Justin Connolly, who we went on to do other movies with, and I absolutely love and adore him. And me and him got along great. Yeah. And so he gave the thumbs up within weeks, I think.
Yeah, it was good.
And it was switched to my name, and that's how I got my first directing job. And that it is a difficult thing to get a directing job as a woman, especially I think I was 27, and it was a feature film, action feature film where we were going to take over the presidential hacienda with a terrorist army. $250,000.
It was called Bravo. Love that name. So you directed your first one, which then made it a lot easier to get your next directing jobs, right?
Yes. I think what happened was we did the premiere, and Mark kept going, Lori, don't get too drunk at the party. Because there's going to be business.
People, we got to talk business.
And I'm like, what? It's my premiere party. I got to do whatever I want. We had a mariachi band and tequila.
It's a lot of fun.
And we're drinking. And here comes, some people, Ravi Chopra. And he was like, I loved it. I want you to make my next movie. And I was like, yeah, that sounds really good. But the key to making Ravi's was we had to say no to him. How many times did we say no to him?
Many times.
Like 10 times. I mean, just from you can hear it from the Bravo story to this story, which is East Side. Yeah. Part of the key to getting the money is being willing to say no.
Right. Well, you have to have some level of, you have to equal the playing field, right? Because a lot of times the money will come in and say, well, you couldn't do this without money. So therefore, I'm in charge.
Yeah.
So a lot of times what you have to figure out is how do you even the playing field? And the only way to do that is to creatively say, we're not going to allow you to step in, but we're going to allow you to be part of, and your influence is going to be important. And as a result of that, we ended up making East Side, which, by the way, I'm very proud of, starring Mario Lopez.
Yes.
I met Mario in the restroom while he was reading, showing up to read in that movie. I don't remember anything about the read, by the way. Do you?
I remember that he was charming.
Mario's one of the most charming people I've ever met in my life.
He was charming, and we had another guy, Douglas Spain, who went on, and he's a great actor.
Yeah.
And we were torn between them, but Mario just exudes so much charisma that we just couldn't say no.
And then he also was like, "Hey, Holmes, come on, man, give me a time, right? Keep it in the family."
I love it.
I'm kidding. We didn't know each other at all, actually, until we worked on that movie together, which is where What a dick it came from, because in the movie he says to his brother, "You're being a dick right now." Right? So ever since that, we've kept that in the vernacular. So Lorena directed that, which, by the way, I'm very proud of. I think it's a great movie. I don't think you can find it anywhere, but we're going to get all of our films, everything. Here's the crazy thing about the business is that when we started off, we would sell movies and people would take them for 10 years, 20 years, 15 years. Well, now we've outlived the deals and they're all sitting in a vault somewhere, unavailable to anybody. So I think we're going to, in the next month or so, we're going to pull them out of retirement. And we're going to put them on Google and put them on YouTube and all these places. I can even put them on Vimeo now, and people can buy them for 99 cents. We're going to put them up for nothing. Yeah. But you could definitely see East Side and all these movies that Lorena directed. So then we had some success with East Side. We got a great review in the LA Times.
Yes.
We were released, on DVD, which was the big thing back then. Mm-hmm. And we did well. And I think from the, I don't want to go through every single movie you've done, but you definitely directed a slew of movies after that. I
did another film with Mario, Out of Time. And then I got to do Extreme Dating, which was super fun. And that's a romantic comedy, but had a little action to it. Yep. Like almost everyone had a little action to it, which was really fun for me. Because one of my big mentors is Spiro Rosatos, who's the second unit director and stunt coordinator who's responsible for Fast and Furious 7, 8. I don't even know how many. The Avengers Civil War, he's huge, and he was a big mentor of mine. And he even would come on and be my stunt coordinator on my $2 million movie. Yeah, I like that. And he's huge influence and just a huge help to me. But so that was always fun doing the action too.
So there was definitely a heyday, right, where you were directing, we were producing, lots of things were happening. On Extreme Dating, we went to, we shot it, I had this theory that you could shoot a movie on the Universal lot and do the entire thing there, right, that you didn't have to leave it. And I'm pretty sure we shot the entire thing. We
shot in Malibu,
that's right.
Is now the Muse School, but it used to be... we used it as a Big Bear setting, but it was actually Malibu. So we didn't have the cold. It was supposed to be in the snow, but we shot there and then we shot on the lot, which was so much fun.
I bet, yeah, we shot on the lot and then we ended up staying on the lot for 7 years.
Wow.
They couldn't find us. So as soon as they found us,
just kept hiding.
Yeah, we just kept hiding in different bungalows. So you finished those movies and then things started to change.
And then, unfortunately, none of them were breakout hits, and that's really what you need as a director. And as much as I love my movies, especially love Extreme Dating, but they all got really battered by us selling to distributors who would almost immediately go bankrupt because there's a lot of bad players out there. And, they convince you that they're big and they're going to do big things. And then they take all the money that comes in and instead of giving it to you, they spend it. And then when you ask for it, they go, "Oh, we're bankrupt." And this happened to us numerous times, including Eli Samaha.
Right. Who I liked a lot.
Calling him out by name.
Who I liked a lot. But.
Yeah. And so our movies kind of got buried and never really had the chance. Yeah. And especially Extreme Dating hardly was in front of anybody's eyes. And as much as I loved it, it definitely knocked the knees out from my confidence. And so I just kind of concentrate on producing with Mark.
Yeah,
and we have a good yin and yang for producing. He's a big overall thought guy and kind of a more mastermind. And then I'm like making sure the budget, schedule, locations, crew, so that went well. And it was fun producing and meeting new directors.
Yeah.
So we did that.
But
for a while.
And we definitely took a turn. We went, we worked with Paul Dinello, Amy Sedaris and Stephen Colbert to do Strangers with Candy, which was a huge step for us.
Right.
We did, after that, we did Danica, which was a huge step for us. It's a $4 million movie.
I like that movie.
Yeah. And then did you watch it?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks,
it's on
David.
Netflix right now, I think.
What?
Yeah, it's up.
Oh, wow, terrific. So we did that, and I'm very proud of that movie. So we were working at a very high level, and then 2008 hit, the crash happened, and all of a sudden Universal found us. And they were like, oh, yeah, you guys, you're out. So we had to leave Universal, which affected us financially, because in a lot of ways, that was one of the allures of us as a young filmmaking company, is that we were on Universal a lot. And that had to mean something, So things changed for all of us, there wasn't a lot of money to be looking for independent film. We hadn't really succeeded in that area that much anyway. So, you had to make a shift. We all had to make a shift. What did you do after that? Well,
right. It was almost impossible to raise money during that recession. People did not have a lot of disposable income.
Yeah.
Although I will say right now that our investors have always said that they were happy that they put money into a movie because at least they had a movie, unlike the money they had in the stock market that went away.
Yeah.
So we're still friends with our investors.
That's important.
Yes. So I was pretty desperate. I mean, I had to pay rent, and I couldn't get anything. I didn't have to pay rent. I had to pay mortgage, and I ended up losing my house and all my savings and my credit. And that takes a lot of your confidence away. You don't want to go to any parties. Not that they even had parties. Parties stopped.
But just to show up somewhere knowing.
Yeah, you didn't want to talk to anyone because they'd be like, what are you doing? And you're like, nothing. I'm desperate. So the recession was brutal. And I think it was brutal to almost everybody, except for certain people like Mark. No, I'm kidding. But for me, because I was all by myself, and I lost everything, it was really difficult. But I did have my one skill that was marketable and was a stable thing, which was editing. So I had
always needed.
Yeah. And I had edited Extreme Dating. I had been additional editor on some of our features. So I had been keeping up my editing chops. And luckily, I was begging for jobs everywhere. I wanted to get into reality because I heard that the salary was great compared to, it's double what we used to pay feature editors. So I had a friend, Brandon Cole, and he was quitting his reality show at the time because he just didn't like certain things. So he went in and he said, I'm quitting, but I'm going to give you somebody who's going to be great. He goes, I guarantee you she will be good. And so they called me up and they interviewed me and they gave me the job, even though I didn't have any reality on my resume. And that was Gordon Cassidy. And the first episode I edited, which was Scrappers for Spike TV, we were showing the network the rough cut. And they said things like, this is so good, I never want it to end.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
This music, every other editor should listen to this. This is how we want the music. And I'm just sitting there going, is this how
did I die and go to heaven
with networks go? Because, this is pretty easy. I was kind of nervous. And I went up to my edit bay afterwards and the producers knocked on the door and they came in and they go, that will never happen again. And they were pretty much right, although I do get occasional praise. But that helps cement, that I can do this, and that I have a talent for it. And I went on to edit for years. Although in between that, me and Mark were able to produce some TV as well, which was My Ride Rules, our car TV show on Speed. And mostly important is Ghostly Lovers, which was a special for Travel Channel, which got me directing again.
That's right.
where we interviewed women who have slept with ghosts. And I directed reenactments.
Yeah, shout out to Paul Buccieri, who gave us our first opportunity there.
Within 2 months, we had made that special and got it on air, and just in time for Valentine's Day.
It was unbelievable. But the question that a lot of people are going to want to know is, did all of the work that you did with Robert David and as a director and additional editing, do you think that helped you be able to come out of the recession and all that working and doing your thing?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, first of all, I was able to develop just the skill of editing through Robert David, but that's just the skill of editing. Then there's also what is entertaining, and what are high points and low points, and how do we push the emotions? East Side, there was that one big bridge shot, and we went for it with kind of cheesy music, but it makes you have an emotion.
No spoilers.
No spoilers, right, exactly.
And so I think learning all that, watching audiences, because we almost always did audience feedback before we locked a film.
Yeah.
And so hearing from audiences what works and what doesn't work, all of that feeds my work all the way up until, my last week on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. What emotion am I working with? What do I want the audience to feel? What do the audience want to feel? And that all comes from making those movies and hearing that feedback from the audience from Robert David.
Absolutely.
Well, you obviously have like a really, really good instinct for this kind of work. Let's name off some of the shows that you've been doing for the past 5 years, just to give people an idea.
I did Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Real Housewives of Orange County. I did Intervention, which I think is a really important.
My favorite show.
Talk about emotions.
Yeah, it's a crazy show.
Yeah.
Pitbulls
and Parolees, which is something that, real world, just like Intervention, it's real world positive effects.
I like that show.
Yeah. We saved dogs, we saved people who needed dogs. And so that was great. And you also could push a lot of emotion at the end. You always wanted people to cry from happiness. And that, with that slow motion of that dog running to their new owner.
Did you work on the Kardashians?
I worked on, Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I worked in Shaws of Sunset.
Which you guys shot like literally one house away here.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I worked on, I Am Jazz.
So just a ton of stuff, all network stuff, all high level. So one thing to take away from this is, your journey is long, and everything you do, everything you try, there's value in. Anything that makes you better, gives you more skills, there's value in. I find it interesting now as I produce projects outside of Robert David. I definitely see the gift of being involved with editing, watching Lorena edit. You get, you through osmosis, I sort of figured stuff out, So now a lot of the music stuff that I do on my movies, I tend to edit them myself and send the edit in, because I'm like, you're just going to fade it out, and I'd rather have it like be a complete piece. Mm-hmm. And all of that was from what I did in my earlier years. One thing to keep in mind is that everyone takes different roads. You do need support. You do need champions, and you need to take extreme risks. And we've talked about this a lot on the show. You need to throw your hat over the fence. I remember one day going to Lori, and we went into a room on Poor White Trash, and I said, I've got $25,000. It's going to cost $400,000 to make this movie. We're either going to go bankrupt and get sued for offering the job to Sean Young, or we're going to finish this thing. Either way, if we're not making a movie, we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. Sure. So let's take this risk. We got 25 grand. If we don't make it, then, we start over again from zero. And lo and behold, it all worked out. And probably one of our best movies.
Oh, I love Poor White Trash. It's hilarious. I highly recommend it.
I met my wife on the screening of that movie.
Interesting.
Aspen, yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, so let's
give us the details that day.
So here's a crazy thing. We used libraries that were on CDs when we were starting off, right? Like,
that's funny.
We would go to an editing place and they'd have like a wall of CDs, and it'd be like the movie edition, and it'd be like 10 CDs, and they'd have all these different types, comedy songs, and all these different things. Well, now there's a company called Extreme Music, and I'm pretty sure you use it.
I use Extreme Music in in my various reality shows. Yeah. Yes.
Extrememusic.com. So I am in the process, and I can't announce it officially, but I'm in the process of making a deal for my latest documentary. And of course, there was stuff in there that the directors put in that I couldn't use. So the editor, Rich Alarcon, went over to Extreme Music and started picking sound-alike songs, and everything worked out. But I just want to say, Russ is the most powerful and probably one of the most innovative executives out there, because Extreme Music, not only were we able to pick the songs, but I got to tell you, there was one song I picked that I really didn't love, that it had like these violins that kept like really overpacing the song at a certain point. So I noticed that there was a stems button, and I went to the stems button, and it gave me every instrument separate, and I was able to remove the violins, and I was able to remove the drums, and then it would just become this ominous sort of sound. And I mixed it, and it gave it to me, and I downloaded it, and there it was, and I didn't have to ask anyone to do anything. And I don't know if every library does that, but I just want to give credit, because I'm pretty sure Russ invented it. And if he didn't, I'm giving him credit for it.
Yeah. Amazing tool.
Amazing tool. So I just want to say thank you, Russ, for supporting us. Thank you for providing an amazing service that me as a producer, I use on every single movie I do, including Feliz Navidad, including Johnny Porche, which was entirely done with extrememusic.com. And our guest today uses extrememusic.com as well. What advice would you give a young filmmaker wanting to be a director? You're definitely at you're at a great part of your career, but you're obviously, do you want to get back to directing features?
Well,
or television,
I have to say, I've been having dreams where I'm on the set a lot lately, even I think last night, which is weird. Part of it is like almost like college. Oh my God, I didn't study, because I'm always like, wait, what's the schedule? But yeah, I mean, I definitely would love to get back out on the field, one way or the other. It's so much fun. I mean, you had me do second unit directing for your documentary, Love and Betrayal.
That's right.
And that was a ball. And
you guys have to watch it. The directing on the Love and Betrayal reenactments are actually
no, because I would tell you, hey man, it's directed by this guy Mark, and he's like, no, Lorena did that.
Yeah, Lorena did those. Yeah, and they're because I didn't know how to do that. That's not my thing. I couldn't think about how to create pacing so that those things were good. So I had to bring in Lorena, and she did a great job. Yeah.
And now with my editing even more so, it's so solidified that I know that I will know when I have it, what I need. If I need to cut something, I know exactly how I'm still going to pull this off even better than I did before, so I am definitely interested in getting back on the set. I think I could accomplish amazing things, so yes, what I've learned, dive in with both feet, try to keep your confidence, even if there's issues, and understand that the world around you might be the reason and not you. Also, educate yourself. You don't get to direct because you could see it in your head.
Yeah.
That's not a director. Like, there's a lot to learn. And I definitely think people should continue their education about that. You also want to ride the horse in the direction it's going. The editing horse took me away, and I've been riding it, and actually I really enjoy it. It's great financially. And it also has improved my storytelling even more.
Mm-hmm.
So I think those are the things I've learned. And, keeping up and keeping friends with your people like Sam Zoda, like, of course, Mark Roberts, but also, like I said, Spiro. I still go to Spiro's Super Bowl parties. All of these people, Spiro was like my second job, in Hollywood. Mark was like my third job in Hollywood. So these people, you can continue to maintain friendships, find good people and maintain your friendships with them.
Yeah. And what's next for you? What do you see happening?
Well, I've been developing some shows, some non-scripted shows, because again, I'm not a writer, so I work better in non-scripted if it's going to be like that. I'm always looking for scripts that I love because I can work off good writing. I have some shorts I still want to do with the Beckoning Fair one, which is a really important one for me. And then we have Ollie, our skateboarding bulldog movie, which we hope to make.
Tony Alva was on the show the other day.
Yeah, I saw that. That's so cool.
Who's our consultant on Ollie.
Yeah. So, just keep working on projects. I'm doing another intervention next month.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And so, but I just realized the world's wide open and I could do anything I want. I want to keep feeding that creative hunger. Yeah.
Well, I want to shout out and send prayers to Lauren Garza.
Oh, yeah.
Who has cancer.
Oh, yeah, that's
and is fighting for his life. And, Lauren Garza did all of our posters from day one.
Right. He was really important. You're right. From day one.
Yeah. So we've known him for all of our career. And I just delivered a poster to Netflix on my current movie.
Wow.
And they loved it, right? Because he did it.
Oh, wow.
So, and he's always been very kind, and he's always been a stand-up guy. And I just want people to pray for him. I want great things for him. And I hope that, that he gets over this quickly.
Yes. Go, Lauren.
Love you, Lauren. All right. Well, thank you, Lorena, for going down memory lane with me.
It was fun.
That was a blast. I mean, there was probably so much we left out.
Oh, my God. Just even remembering.
I tell you, all I hear is your name when I'm around this guy. Every time. It is great.
Well, people hear about him from me.
Take it easy.
Take it easy. We had a fun road, and, both of us ended up landing on our feet, and we've got projects together. We have a company together with a bunch of product in it, and we're going to be trying to sell a TV show together.
Yes.
So thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your story. I think people will get a lot out of this. And if you're listening, get educated, take some chances. Thanks, Lori.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you guys next time on Let's Get Into It.
Hi everyone, I'm Kirby.
And I'm Sarah.
And we're Los Angeles. Strivectin is a brand that's long been regarded as top-tier skincare by professionals of all kinds.
We personally love how all of Strivectin's products are backed by science.
If you're looking for an eye cream to help smooth the appearance of crow's feet and under-eye puffiness, Strivectin's new Intensive Eye Concentrate for Wrinkles Plus is proven to do so, starting in just 5 days. To learn more, visit Strivectin.com.
The wait is over. New episodes of The Walking Dead Season 10 are premiering early, February 21st on AMC+. Don't miss the extended 10th season, featuring 6 new episodes, each focused on fan-favorite characters. Prepare for all-new high-stakes showdowns and emotional reckonings by catching up on the latest season before new episodes drop. With season binges, exclusive content, and early access to new episodes, the best Walking Dead experience is only on AMC+. Get lost in the Walking Dead universe today. Available ad-free and on demand. Sign up at amcplus.com. AMC+. Only the good stuff.